Hello, everyone. My name is Nisha Tumber. Welcome to our emPower Hour. Again, my name is Nisha Tumber. I am the Director of Outreach and Engagement over at PCCS, and I'm so excited to have everyone on and join us for today's emPower Hour. So today we're going to be discovering supported employment. But really quickly, before we introduce our wonderful panelists today, I just want to pass it over to yes. Do you
Marissa
hear me?
Corio.
Yes. Hello.
How are you? And I have to apologize to everyone. The Wi Fi is down in my office, so I'm sitting outside in the rain trying to keep my service intact. So, my name is Marissa Corio, and I am the information and outreach person for both Family Support and the Developmental Disabilities Council here in Staten Island. A little background about myself: I've been in the field 11 years now, and I started in the group homes. I've worked in respite and employment services, even in development. I've worked, and something that has been a constant is everything changes. Things are constantly changing. I would say, the minute we learn something about services or programs and procedures, the minute we learn it and kind of master it, something changes. So that kind of brings me to what the Disability Council is here in Staten Island. We're a resource and a service, and I'm sorry, a support and an advocate here to kind of assist parents or self advocates and even professionals in the field with staying in the know about all the changes that affect our loved ones and the people we provide services for. So unfortunately, I can't share my screen here. Usually, I'll take you over to the website, but we'll put that website in the chat. That is www.siddc.org. If somebody could put that in the chat for me, I think the admins could do that. On the website, you could check out the committees and the co-chairs' contact information. So you can thank you for putting that out. So you could best find a committee that aligns with your needs. And the like I said, the emails are there, and I'll provide you guys with my email. If you have any questions, if we don't have an answer, we will find it for you. But I also suggest attending the committee meetings that are held monthly. So you could go over to the calendar on the website, and all of the committee meetings are there. Our general council meetings are there, and along with every information session going on in Staten Island, it should be plugged into that calendar with the Zoom link. I'm sorry for the background noise. Like I said, this is on a whim here. Anything else here that I would like? Well, you know what? I'm gonna put everything that I would show you into the chat. This way I'm not just talking because it's a lot of information. And that's it. So go over to our website, and everything that I wanted to show you, I'm going to throw into that chat so you have that information. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Marissa. And again, if anyone has any questions or any questions about the SIDDC, about joining the council or anything like that, please do not hesitate to reach out to us, and we will provide you with whatever information you need in order to get in connection with them. So yes, thank you again, Marissa. So today's emPower Hour is going to cover the importance of employment, and we have some really awesome guests joining us today that are very well versed in all things employment, and they have a fabulous thing going on in the work that they do. So I would love to introduce our panelists, our guests, Steve Towler, Michelle Shapiro, and Candy Genovese. And I will definitely pass the floor over to you guys so you guys can, again, introduce yourselves so everyone in the meet knows who you guys are.
That sounds awesome. Thank you, Nisha. Much appreciated. So, hello, Staten Island and New York City, and whoever else might be having an opportunity to tune into all this. My name is Steve Towler. I'm the Vice President of Programs and Business Development at AHRC New York City, and I've been involved in the employment field for about 35 years. And it's one of these things that is a real passion for me. My career has been devoted to helping people with developmental disabilities and other disabilities and at-risk youth to prepare for, obtain, and maintain employment. We have a fairly large, sophisticated employment service offered through HRC New York City in all 5 boroughs of the city. And we got involved in Staten Island as the last borough we actually got involved in. But over the last decade, it has grown significantly, even more than a decade, probably more like 15 years now, where we have one of the larger employment networks and programs on the island itself. So we're really proud of it. So I'm going to let, we have Michelle Shapiro, who is one of our assistant directors here today, and Candy Genovese, who runs the borough of Staten Island for us. So we're really thrilled to have our team members here today as well. We do a lot of different things related to employment, and we try to help people in a lot of really, really creative ways. And what we wanted to do is really start a little bit with a video, and I'm going to give you a little bit of background on the video so you know what it's about. 5-6 years ago, we got involved in what's known as Project Search. Project Search is an international program that comes out of Cincinnati Children's Hospital in Ohio, out that way in the Midwest. And in Cincinnati, there was a couple of people that kind of had a need in their emergency room at the hospital. And what they began thinking about was, could we put people with developmental disabilities? Would they be able to do the work here? And they began a program that involves many, many high schools. There's close to 1,000 programs around the world, most of them in the United States, but there's a lot of programs. And they take place working with special education students in their last year of high school. So in New York City, we have 6 different programs operating. And on Staten Island, we work with the OTC, the Hungerford School, and we work at Staten Island University Hospital, which is now part of Northwell. Last couple of years. Northwell's the host business, and the students in their last year of high school are carefully selected and assessed by the team, the partners here being the school, the host business, rehabilitation agency like AHRC New York City. In New York City, we're the only agency like ours that does Project Search. So we're really very, very proud of that. We've wanted to do it for many, many years, and we've been able to offer it throughout the city of New York. Access VR, vocational counselor is a partner, and Office of People with Developmental Disabilities. So it's a partnership program, 5 different partners kind of working together. So a couple of years ago, Northwell was so excited about how well this was going, they put a video together to talk about what it's been like at the hospital, right? And people from Staten Island know it well. Staten Island University Hospital, the main hospital center. So I guess maybe with no further ado, we'll roll this. This was before the pandemic. So this was just before the pandemic. So things did change in the pandemic where a lot of things went remote, but we are back in person again now. So we're really happy about that. So Candy, can you run it?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that introduction.
And if you want to say anything, Candy, to add to that, that little overview to what I just described, please do.
So this video that we're about to show is a great video. It gives you the feedback and the input from the Northwell health staff themselves. So it gives you an idea, not just from our inside perspective, how the program's going, but to hear how it's going from their perspective as well, which is really important because they are one of our employers. So I'm going to share my screen now. And
just to emphasize that they did this without us. We're not even in it. So this is all about how it works at Northwell. Very natural. So.
Okay, can you guys see it?
Now we can.
Okay.
The program we embarked on is called Project Search. The national program actually was designed by 2 nurses who felt that there could be better employment options for children with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Sometimes these kids are forgotten. No one thinks about them. No one thinks they can.
Picture's not there, Candy.
Okay, hold on a second.
The whole program is geared towards developmental.
Let me try this one more time.
Who are in their last year of high school. We train them. They become interns here at the hospital. And at the end of that year, they have been in 3 different departments, have learned many, many different skill sets. And hopefully we'll be able to find jobs either within Northwell, our hospital, or elsewhere.
I have changed a lot.
Can you guys see this?
Throughout.
Yeah, it's there now.
Okay.
Year. I do feel more independent, and this just feels amazing.
We all make assumptions that these children are capable. They turn the assumptions on their heads. They surprise us by how capable they are.
I'm proud that Northwell agreed to host this program. The team was 10 people initially, but then we involved a lot of the hiring managers and had mentors. Every single one of our team members believed in this with their heart, with their minds, and with their soul.
back in the 2016-17 period, I was pretty depressed and suicidal and very anxious. I now have Project Search, and they helped me. And they helped me whenever I have problems, whenever I'm having self-doubt issues, and they made me more confident than I ever was.
They love that people are paying attention to them. They love the fact that people believe in them. And we do. We believe in them 100%.
Do you want cranberry juice or apple juice?
Some of them have patient contact. They deal with the patients in rehab, for instance. The patients love them.
The students fit in so well with the staff, much beyond my wildest expectations.
To see them walking around the halls, and one of the board members high fives them, and they know everybody now. Everybody knows who they are. It's amazing how many lives they have touched here.
I've said this a lot of times. I can't thank them enough for the love and passion that they gave to me and the other students. It's overwhelming. It's just overwhelming emotion.
These 10 students that were entrusted to us, we really are making a radical imprint on their life and changing the whole focus of their lives. Their lives will never be the same. They really will participate in society.
We are having a graduating ceremony for them here. Our team put this program together. The kids are the ones that made it happen and made it work.
I do realize that they have helped me go so far, and I have no doubt I will go much further in the rest of my life. You have to keep moving forward.
Giving the kids this opportunity and giving our son this opportunity, it's been so tremendous and such a blessing. So we thank you. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
The hope is really that other hospitals in the system would adopt this program. Because imagine that if we could train 200 children a year, that would be the best possible outcome.
Most doctors said I would never talk, travel on my own, make food on my own, or get a job. Sure proved them wrong.
I'm in this area of human resources for over 30 years. And I'm prouder of this than anything I've ever accomplished in my career.
So I'm sure many of you, if not everyone, is familiar with Northwell. So Northwell, major hospital network with many hospitals, and they have this competition every year amongst their hospitals themselves and their different units and specialties and things of that nature. So Staten Island University Hospital, like all the other hospitals, put in what they felt was one of their best internal projects, and they felt that having Project Search in their hospital setting was what they were going to lead with, and they put all of their heart and soul into that, and I think people can really see that. So Candy, let's go to the PowerPoint, right? And we'll kind of go there and we'll start going through. We wanted to lead with something a little bit different, and now I'm going to give just a little bit of background. So AHRC New York City is a very large not-for-profit primary mission of helping people with intellectual and developmental disabilities to achieve awesome outcomes in their lives. And we are in all 5 boroughs of New York, supporting around 10,000 plus people on an annualized basis in a very wide range of supports and services. At pretty much everything except early intervention. We have school-based programs, including a new school on Staten Island and Tottenville. We have residential programs all over the city of New York. We have camping and recreation services for people that plays both in the city and outside the city. We have home care and home services provided where we can bring community hab and other kinds of supports into people's homes. We have a very large rehabilitation service, which focuses on helping people in the community. It's very community based, and we're able to do a number of things there. So the mission kind of go there. I was kind of rolling there kind of fast, but and we have a very large, we have a clinic service that takes place without, and we have a very large employment service division. And that's what we're really going to focus our discussion on, employment services for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So let's see where we're on that next slide or two here. So, that's kind of what we plan to cover: mission, vision, scope of services, some demographics, valued outcomes, our process, some marketing, social enterprises, and then questions and answers if there's time. So basically we covered that, but I think something's interesting. So we really provide rewarding employment for all individuals or programs, leading to long-term success, personal satisfaction, and economic self-sufficiency. So that's what we're striving to do for everybody that we support. We receive referrals from a lot of different places, from Access VR. We talked about Project Search, so that's coming from the school system. Obviously, care coordinating organizations, CCOs, and the care coordinators, from OPWDD, very, very wide ranging, where the referrals may come from our own internal programs, different things like that. So kind of moving. And our values, we're going through some changes here, but these won't change. These are still kind of to the heart of what we do: passion, respect, integrity, diversity, and excellence. That's H or C as a whole. So I want to kind of move us a little bit more to our employment aspects here. So I'm going to do some little bit on the scope, the larger scope, and then when we drill back in, Candy's going to start taking kind of more of this on. So we started out when the program began many, many years ago in the Bronx originally. We called it Hire, helping industry hire reliable employees. And from day one, this was all about helping people prepare for work, helping them get a job, and helping them keep a job. And we've come up with lots of other ways to try to accomplish all that through different funding mechanisms, different being kind of creative ideas, like kind of tapping in and using the Project Search model in New York City. But supported work, it's real jobs for real pay, right? And fair pay, not below what someone else would earn. People get job coaching services, very intensive in the beginning, and then longer term, usually for a less frequency, once a person gets stabilized on the job a bit. Individual jobs, group placements, things like that. We have a big focus on janitorial services that I think we're going to talk about a little bit later. I'm going to let Candy talk about TechSpert. Candy, why don't you take it on? What TechSpert and a little more on Project Search that we have.
Yeah, so for TechSpert, it prepares to navigate network and cloud-based with the individuals. They are certified in IC3 Digital Literacy, which is a living online certification. It prepares them for things like Google Suite, Microsoft Office Teams. These are things that are really important in the day and age that we are in now, because a lot of work for computer type work is based remote and online. And in order to prepare our guys to be placed in that field, we need to get them up there. So our computer training program is open for individuals 18 and over. And they need to have a little bit of a basic skill with computers and have an interest with that. Our Project Search program, as Steve discussed, he discussed a lot of it already, but it is a school to transition work program. That's when they're still in school. They're still enrolled in school. They're still a part of the DOE, but they are at work for their last year in school rather than going to school. They're learning work skills that will be transferable for their future. And they have 3 rotation of internship in departments at the hospital. We try to place them in 3 very different departments so that they can figure out, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is where their skill set lies. And we get to see and measure how they're doing. And this is a great program because not only is Staten Island University a host site for us, they are also an employer of ours, as I mentioned before. They've employed about 7 to 8 individuals of ours, and they're very involved with them, and it's a wonderful program. Do you want me to talk about Horizons, Steve?
Sure.
All right. So Horizons Day Hub Without Walls, as you guys may have also at PCCS, it's a day hub without walls where we prepare people for work that are not already working. We help to they go into the field doing some volunteer sites and recreational sites. But regardless if it's recreational or volunteer activities, we're always working on an ADL goal with them to help them increase the skills in order to get a job in the future. For individuals that do not know how to travel on their own, we do provide transportation for them. We have a agency van. The staff picks them up before program and drops them off after program. With our Pathway to Employment program, that is a one-to-one service. It's for people who have not worked before, or maybe who haven't worked in years. So it's a discovery program. We help to discover what they are interested in and what their skills are. And if they are ready to work, we provide volunteer opportunities for them. It's typically 3 volunteer opportunities in the community. And they get to have the real work experience while we're assessing them. The OPWDD Employment Training Program is a state-funded training program that is paid by the state. It starts off with job readiness and goes into a paid internship. The state pays their wages, and what the goal is to get the individual on the employer's payroll. So it's a great foot in the door, because in the beginning, since OPWDD is paying the wages, employers that were maybe not willing to work with us before for whatever reason, maybe they were a little apprehensive, it does open that door and get us in there. And then we have our Hudson River Services programs. It's our affirmative business. We have we employ janitorial and messenger staff there. They are integrated into the workforce. We have many different contracts around all 5 boroughs. The messenger contract is through HRA. They deliver from one HRA office to another intraborough. And our janitorial, we have contracts with the FDNY, MTA, DOT. These are very big contracts. And the wages paid through here are much better than what they would earn through the community. So it's a great opportunity for our guys. And here are some demographics to the population that we serve. We serve a total of 2,000 citywide, probably a little bit more.
There's a big error on this, Candy, just as people are looking at that. Our average hourly wage is certainly not $10.36.
Oh. Yes, I didn't catch that. Sorry, guys.
No, that's a big error. It's over $20 an hour these days. And that has a lot to do with the fact that all of our janitorial contracts with services, primarily most of them, are through what's known as NICE, New York State Industries for the Disabled. And all of them have to pay prevailing wages and benefits, which are quite high in the city of New York. So that's a typo there on that one. So we'll have to fix that one.
Sorry, guys. And yeah, not on here. It says total served citywide over 2,000, but within Staten Island, we have a little over 300 people that we're serving.
And that's a lot for Staten Island.
That is, because we are the smallest borough out of our other 4 boroughs.
Right, and that encompasses more of the traditional DD programs, or are you also, Candy, including all of the DYCD programs?
It includes everything: DYCD, the Techspert, the Project Search.
Because we also have a slightly different DYCD program too, which we're not really going to talk about much here. But at the advanced scenario, you're not really counting them in the mix on this with your numbers.
Yeah, I didn't.
No, because that's another 150 people. But that's a program that we're training people to become. Help get high school equivalencies if they don't have it, preparation for that, and then achieving it. But then also we have a track for training DSPs. So some of you may know of that already, but we have a DSP training program that if anyone wants to reach out to discuss, we would love to discuss it. So on our valued outcomes here, these are things that despite regardless of what program someone's in, we're looking to do this. So, all of our pathways that Candy was describing, whether it's actually pathways to employment or whether it's someone in our Horizons program or someone in our careers training programs, they're all moving in a direction towards helping people become employed. That's really what we're looking to do. We want people to become employed. We want them to be successful in the community. So obtaining quality jobs, high quality janitorial service training is something I mentioned. We do a lot of that. Maintaining employment once you have a job. So a lot of people say it's relatively easy to get the job. The big thing is, can you keep the job once you have it, right? So you got to make sure you're really doing the right thing. Integration in the community is something we strive for. Career development, movement towards self-sufficiency, increasing self-esteem, and increased recognition of individuals' contributions. And those things kind of go on and on of things we're looking to accomplish for folks. Candy, you want to take it on?
Yeah, sure. So here's how the process goes from start to finish. A person is referred to us. They can be referred either by Access VR, care manager, or even another agency similar to ours where they're receiving different kind of services. An assessment takes place. When we receive the referral, we review the packet, we review all the evaluations, we do the enrollment and intake process with the person. We get to meet them and find out what they want in employment. We provide pre-employment services, which is job club and job readiness services. We have job development, which starts to take place with our job developing team. There's a job matching process that takes place with the person that does the intake and enrollment. They don't stop there. They also continue with them throughout their pre-employment time with us. So they're the ones that work closely with the job developers to do the job match and see if this indeed is the right match for the person when we're putting them in a job. The job interview. The job developer prepares the individual prior to the interview and takes them on the interview, and then they follow up with the employer post-interview. Then we have the job placement where the job coach comes in. And we'll talk a little bit about the job coach role, the job developer role in a few slides from now. But the job placement, the job coach comes in. They're with them from travel routing them to the job, which is a little different from travel training. Travel training, just as a side note here, with travel training, they get thorough traveling with a person that is trained to do so. This person, travel training, people usually have not ever traveled before. They don't have the safety skills. So that person that's certified to do travel training helps them with that. With travel routing, which is what our job coaches do, the person needs to have basic safety skills. They need to know how to cross a street, what signs to look for danger, how to evacuate an enclosed space, how to call 911. So that's the difference there. We need the guys to have the basic safety skills in order to travel route them.
And I think just a quick sidebar note, and that is, so New York City Department of Education, District 75 specifically, really does awesome travel training. All right. So when students are still in high school, we strongly recommend, if there's any family members or individuals, agency staff that connect to the high schools, try to get people travel trained while they're in high school, because it just opens up the world in so many different ways to be able to explore, to be more independent, to go to the store on your own, getting a job, all those different things. Travel capability increases the likelihood a person will be successful in employment community and overall quality of life, because they're just more and more independent. And the Department of Education, it's a world-class travel training program that cannot be matched by most of our providers, if any of them, quite honestly, because they just have additional resources and they just get it done really, really well. So it's a little kind of plus on the Department of Ed on what they can really help students with. So I would really encourage that to take place as early as a family feels comfortable.
I agree with that. And then to continue on, we have orientation where the job coach helps them learn the policies, the procedures, the regulations of their job site, and they help get them acclimated to their job site. And they help to do any sort of orientation, onboarding, training paperwork that's involved, or computer work. Then we have the job coaching services themselves. This is the on-site training. They work with them on goals and how to overcome any obstacles. They help them develop natural supports at the job, because natural supports are important. Because to the next point, intensive support fading. We are not there 100% forever. In the beginning, we are there, and we at some point we decide as a team with the employer, the access counselor, when we can stabilize a person. When they are stabilizing, we start to fade services. That doesn't mean that they never see their job coach again. Job coaching, to the next point, is long term. It's a long term support. They will be there several times throughout the month to check in on the person, to help them with new skills, to maintain the relationship with the employer. The long-term support is offered through OPWDD if they're eligible. And if they are not eligible, we look to put them on our OMH or access extended billing.
All right, so I'll take on a little bit of this. So just also, as we were looking and talking about the scope of services, for the majority of the people that are going to come into and going to make it to support and employment, their first processes are going to be enrolled with Access VR. All right, and this is regardless of whether or not they came through one of our careers programs or they're coming right from Project Search or wherever might happen to be. Access VR, part of the State Education Department. There's an office on Staten Island, which has vocational counselors. So we're going to get their person's case. We'll help them, if it's not already open, to get their case open with Access VR. That's very important. And Access VR will pay for the first part of the process to move towards employment, which typically, as Candy described, is getting all the way through there, getting a job, getting ready for a job, getting a job, and getting to a point where they're stabilized and doing pretty well. But given support and employment, it means that they need to continue long-term supports. And that's where primarily for us, it's going to be OPWDD, but it also could be the Office of Mental Health if a person is eligible for services in that funding area. And then for some individuals that they don't fit either OPW or OMH, Access VR, particularly people with autism, certain learning disabilities, there may be people that meet that criterion. So as we're looking at this marketing job development, and job development, quite honestly, could be its own presentation. So we have job developers throughout New York City. We have a marketing department, a marketing director, and then we have regional people that are very skilled in the development of opportunities and networking with the business community, so that we're out there all the time. We're talking to businesses. We're part of the Staten Island Chamber of Commerce, different business groups that exist on Staten Island, and we're continually kind of out there looking for opportunities. So I'm getting to know the person. Candy kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, discovery. We're looking more and more to do more and more discovery, so we make sure that we really do know people well and that we can put them in the right fit for the right opportunity. So this is a process that is continual and ongoing. And, one of the things in a good economy, which is right now, for example, this is a very good economy. There's lots of jobs. In fact, there's more jobs than can typically, right? There's more open jobs than there are job seekers for the most part out there. So this is a great opportunity because it's easier when the job market is strong, which means typically higher unemployment, to help anybody get a job. So there are jobs available. One of the things we've seen, I mentioned briefly, we're not talking a lot about the pandemic, but the pandemic had a major impact. In March 2020, roughly, you can use numbers, we're supporting about 1,000 people in long-term supports, and overnight, literally 600 of them were laid off, right? Given what happened in the pandemic. And we maintained about another 400 that were continuing to work. And those folks were continuing to work primarily in our Hudson River Service Unit, because what we were doing is janitorial and disinfecting services for the city of New York. In fact, the city of New York needed more people to go to work. And I think we have some slides on that later, but maybe we'll kind of keep going because I'm kind of being aware of time. I think we're the journey to employment, daily job readiness, training programs, internships, direct placement. So there's a lot of different ways that we kind of go out there to try to assist people. Business relationships, this all kind of fits in the same way. General labor jobs, customized jobs based on discovery, entry-level skill jobs. For the most part, people are going into entry-level job opportunities. There are exceptions to that. For the most part, though, it's really entry-level jobs and that people working their way up. So, account exec. That's our account execs, job developers. I spoke about them. Candy, you want to do job coach?
So we spoke briefly about what a job coach does. They're the trained job coaches. They'll work directly on the site with the employee when they begin to work to ensure that they learn every aspect of the position. They'll do this through different techniques. Like I said, they'll help them develop natural supports. They'll help them to communicate and have the interpersonal skills a little bit better. And these are the skills that are needed in order to maintain the employment. They act as a liaison between the employer and the employee. We do advocate for the individual to speak directly to the employer themselves, but we go with them. We show them how, and then eventually we help them build up to that independence. The job coach, as I mentioned earlier, works on goals to assist in maintaining employment. And as mentioned before, services do fade as the individual begins to stabilize to the satisfactory of the employer. So an employment and community service coordinator. This is the person that does the intake and the enrollment. They're the ones that work with the job seeker first. They assess their abilities, their interests, their wants, and their needs. They create and maintain excellent relationship with all the job seekers. And this is very important because they're the ones referring them to the job developers when there are jobs. They're the ones doing the job matching. They conduct the job clubs and any other pre-employment groups we may have.
The job, when we think about job coaches, though, and in so many ways, are really the backbone of the employment service. Without job coaches, we really don't have anything. So, critical position, and obtaining job coaches, keeping them very, very important in today's work world.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Right.
So this is a big and common topic amongst families and individuals working and receiving benefits. They always ask, what will happen to my SSI or SSDI or my Medicaid? They can, and we tell them they can still work and still receive their SSI and SSDI. However, they must report their earnings to Social Security. They go by, it's something called earned income exclusion. They don't count the first $65 of the earned income. And then when you deduct the $65 from the earned income, then they take half of that amount. And that's what they deduct from Social Security. There are programs to assist individuals. There's something called PASS and Ticket to Work. These are safety nets for people that receive SSI. They say they have questions such as, what if I lose my SSI benefits or it gets reduced and then I lose my job? So Ticket to Work is that, and PASS, these are these safety nets to help them get back on pretty quickly without reapplying through the whole process.
Yeah. Lose your Social Security, you're seeing there the number to lose your Medicaid, it's over $50,000 a year. That's a pretty good job. If you got a job earning $50,000 a year, you've probably moved into an area where you probably have health benefits as well for whatever that job opportunity is with that. And it may be a point that maybe you are beginning to move from the dependency of Medicaid to being more independent, not requiring Medicaid. That doesn't always happen, and it's not required to happen. But I think the big bottom line, because this is Social Security benefits, oftentimes there's misunderstandings about it and people are fearful about it. But somebody working kind of part-time financially, you always make out better the combination of your income plus even if it's a portion of the SSI monthly payment that you're still receiving. When you put them together, it's more total dollars that are coming into for the person or the household, and it's allowing that person to achieve their dreams of employment at the same time. So this is also a topic that could be its own independent presentation, and there's lots and lots of expertise in the city of New York that can provide it, and we'd be happy to assist with that. But that obviously that'll need its own hour on this one. So, but you're always better off working than not. So on our social enterprise, Candy talked a little bit about it in the beginning with Hudson River Services, but Hudson River Services is something we created almost 30 years ago. With the idea being is that we wanted to be as creative and flexible as possible to help people move towards employment. And as we're doing that, some of the models would be involved in having somebody work directly for the College of Staten Island or Barnes and Noble. In other cases, it might be a lease or a contract whereby we're going to contract to do the work. So under the NYSID program, New York State Industries for the Disabled, we've been able to create a lot of different businesses. And our social enterprise model involves really two primary things. One is we're going to create employment opportunities for people, and it's going to be financially viable or able to stand on its own 2 feet financially by being able to kind of build customers. And, we have a lot of government contracts. We also have contracts with Salesforce and Etsy and other entities in the city of New York where people go to work. Those companies pay us. We, in turn, pay the workforce with that. So very interesting concept. And I think we're going to go over a couple of examples momentarily, right? So Shreddability started up a decade ago. It's up in the Bronx. It's a secure document destruction business where we provide shredding services throughout New York City. This is something that we work for the IRS and hundreds of other companies in the New York City area. We do it for ourselves at agency in New York City, where we have secure bins on location. The bins that you put paper into, and they're locked. We have trucks that go out, they pick the paper up, they bring it to our plant in the South Bronx. We sort the paper, we shred the paper, we bale the paper, we sell the paper, and it gets pulped and back into the ecosystem. It's very environmentally conscious, and it is helping people go to work, and it's paying for itself. We employ about 20 people through this, both in the community and on our trucks, believe it or not. So opportunity to employ significantly disabled people, as you kind of see that. Yeah, that's like what I just said. So that's Shreddability. Janitorial, custodial, foot messenger, snow removal. Landscaping is something we got into that we really enjoy doing. You want to talk project out on Staten Island at the park and ride, Candy?
Yeah, we have a couple of different landscaping sites.
In fact, some are for OPWDD and IBR.
Yes, yeah, that's one. That's actually a big one because those grounds are huge, as anyone who's been there has seen.
The Connolly Center. Yeah, why don't you describe that one better?
So yeah, it's our guys that take care of the landscaping there, with the trimming, the cutting of the grass, the mulching, things like that. And, landscaping is not a very easy job, but a lot of our guys do end up doing it, and they do it well. They need to be able to learn how to control machine, how to work in a different environment every day. One day it may be really hot, one day it may be chilly. And these things are important, and our guys are able to acclimate to that. We also have a contract at the Armory, we also take care of like some of our group homes, and it's a good opportunity for our guys to learn a different skill that they can take with them into the future with other companies.
Yeah, when you think about New York City, now Staten Island's obviously a little bit different. When you think about New York City, we weren't really thinking years ago, landscaping, that'd be big, right? How much grass is there to cut? But believe it or not, there's a lot. We do work in Central Park. We do work for the Transit Authority out the park and ride, all kinds of things like that. And then we found lots of work, with OPWDD, and these are through NYSID contracts. Maybe the other example, maybe want to talk about the Staten Island Ferry? Everyone from Staten Island is very familiar with that.
Yeah, and I'm sure anyone on here might have seen our guys cleaning. They're the ones with the blue uniform. They clean everywhere from the bathrooms of the ferry to the hallways to behind the scenes that they have access to that nobody does. So they're the ones that help keep it sanitized and disinfectant and keep it safe for the customers that ride the ferry. Mm-hmm. It's a great paying job for our guys. They, anyone that starts off entry level with Hudson River, they strive to go work at the ferry. They like that site.
Yeah, it's a great site. It really is. We clean the floors at night, the bathrooms all day, and spills and all kinds of things like that. So, all right. So moving ourselves along.
We are done.
Excellent, because that's good, because the timing was good.
Yes.
But it's been very exciting, and there's been a lot of growth in employment. Right now is a really, really exciting time in the state of New York. from an employment perspective, because there's a lot of interest in it, both from the New York State Assembly, from the governor's office supporting employment. A little known fact, so in October of 2020, there's what's known, October is always the NDIEM, National Disability Employer Awareness, right? It's been that for decades. So in October 2020, OPWDD gave me a call and said that the lieutenant governor at the time, governor who is now Governor Hochul, wanted to come out and kind of connect with different people and kind of recognize employment for people with disabilities. And we chose to do Staten Island University Hospital Northwell. So in October 2020, I got to do a presentation with the now governor of New York as she recognized the value of Project Search kind of out that way. And she's continued to be a champion for people with disabilities and looking towards helping others become employed. So there's a number of different legislative acts and government stuff and some additional funding kind of moving towards our industry and field that's going to really hopefully encourage more and more people to be able to go to work. So that was our kind of, I guess, our snapshot overview of what we do on Staten Island. Candy is our Staten Island lead person. We have a great team on Staten Island. And I don't know, Nisha, if there's a way for people to ask questions now, or is this just kind of a wrap point, or maybe you guys have questions?
Oh, sorry. So they do have the option of leaving questions. I'm not too sure if anyone is commenting right now, but I mean, we can definitely, any questions that we do, okay, I just got clearance, nothing came in yet, but if we do receive any questions, I'm sure that we can forward it over to you guys.
Okay.
Thank you so much for such an excellent presentation and really covering employment rights and just what, you know, what employment for people with disabilities truly looks like. I think that is such a beautiful thing. So thank you very, very much. And to all our viewers, if you're watching now live or if you are watching, you know, a couple hours later, a big, big thank you to all of you. And please join us for our next episode on June 16th. But again, thank you, Candy, Michelle, and Steve for your time and for this wonderful presentation.
Our pleasure.
Yes, thank you.
Have a fabulous weekend.